Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I wanted.
Or were you trying to do this little board where you go clip?
Yeah.
Phase
I
one.
was doing that. Okay. Here we go.
But didn't we have one of those? Okay, so I have to start with the introduction, right?
Yeah, let's start with the introduction.
Gosh, the introduction. So I'm very excited to introduce Andrew Levine, who has done a lot of work in. Oh my God, I've totally lost my thread. So
there you go.
Start over. Oh my God.
You can just start again. We can cut that later.
Okay. I'm very excited to introduce Andrew Levine. He studied computer science and then went on to multimedia. He specialized in videography and is a musician who does electronic. No, it's called. Oh my God.
Yeah, electronic and electroacoustic music.
Very good. Electroacoustic music. Yeah. That's something new for me.
So basically, I started with video, and then at some point, I decided that the sound was not good enough. That was about 2002, 2003. So I switched to sound, did only sound for maybe 10, 12, 14 years, and then went back to video and combined the two of them.
And now you're doing something more interesting for you, which is going back to your music, right?
Yes.
Something, and you play an instrument that's really way out there. Most people have never even heard of it.
Yeah.
The theremin, right?
Yeah, I play the theremin and the continuum by Harken Audio, and some modular synthesizers and all kinds of stuff, actually. Cracklebox.
Cracklebox. Yeah, he plays a Cracklebox. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that, but it's something to maybe look up. And I personally can't stand it. So, but what I really do appreciate from Andrew Levine, he has helped the American Women's Club do different kind of video things. And with FAWCO Foundation, he's done this montaging of the videos coming from all the award recipients. So he has a lot of knowledge of dealing with video snippets that everybody's made and trying to put them together and make them look their best. So the idea of this was to come up with a discussion on how we're going to maybe help you guys make cool videos that work and
cooler videos.
Cooler.
Even cooler.
And maybe the format would be a certain way and the lighting a certain way. And there's all these questions. We're always wondering, how can I do it better? And Andrew has a lot of experience in mistakes and positive things. And usually he's always helping me improve my mistakes. So I'm very thankful to him.
Or make fewer of those.
Fewer mistakes. But either way, it's very helpful to have this kind of technical knowledge behind the scenes from somebody who really knows what they're doing. I guess we'll start with, if I was to make a video, or what should I say?
Well, we could start basically with what you're seeing right now. So you're seeing right now video being filmed with a Canon 5D camera, which is standing like about 1.5 meters from us, which is 4 feet. About.
Yeah, I would say 4 feet.
And the sound comes from a stereo microphone, which incidentally is the first microphone I ever bought. The Rode NT4 microphone, which has 2 capsules. So one is facing towards Shelly, one is facing towards me. This is a stereo microphone. It gives you a stereo angle so you can hear the room sound very nicely. And it goes into an audio interface into a laptop, which is actually overkill for the videos that you will probably make, but
and how much does something like that cost?
Well, this is like about 400 something euros.
So this is where you're getting really serious. If you're going to make a lot of videos, this is something you should probably think about investing into, right?
A microphone, I mean, not necessarily stereo, depends on what you want to do, but I bought like one of the gimmickies that I recently acquired. This is a device that you can plug a professional microphone in, so it has the XLR input and it has a gain switch, and then you can plug this into your tablet or your cell phone to record sound.
And it's really focusing on the person, because one thing with like the phone, there's this background sound. Is that going to be more?
Well, this is going to be better because you just plug a regular microphone in, which is usually cardioid. So this microphone, if you hold it in your direction, is going to record mostly the sound that's coming from on axis straight into the microphone, much less from the sides, even less from the back. So if you want to interview someone, which is not the case with these videos, but you would use a cardioid or super cardioid microphone. I would be holding the microphone like this.
And you wouldn't hear the cars in the background or
much
the wind.
less. And the microphones in a cell phone, obviously, they have to be more omnidirectional because you want to record the sound from all over. So you're going to get more stuff coming in from the side, so-called bleed into the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
bleed.
Bloody microphones.
Like
anyway, so there's all kinds of stuff that you can use to improve the sound from your cell phone or from your laptop. I mean, you can use a headset, so you can audition what you're recording, and you have like a little microphone built in. That's probably going to be much better than what's built into most cameras and most cell phones. Most cameras now, they have a microphone because you can do video with the cameras.
All right.
So let's get right to the devices. So you can basically use any Android or iPhone telephone to record your videos. And then the first question is
vertical or horizontal, right?
Yeah.
What's the format?
We had the first clip that we put together from all the FAWCO award recipients. We had maybe 2/3 filmed vertically. There is some discussion on the web that is titled "Vertical Video is Bad." Oh. Not necessarily so, because the nice thing you can do with vertical video is if people are framed correctly, then you can put like 3 of them one next to the other, and you can exchange them, so you can do some nice stuff with vertical video.
So what does this frame correction mean?
Well, I mean, right now, if Shelly, she checked my position, I checked Shelly's position, she had like some space over her head still within the frame, and supposedly my head is not cut off, but let's say I am sitting like this, then
you probably can't see his head.
Yeah, you won't be seeing my head. Or if I move further down like this, you know, you're just gonna see like the top of my head and maybe my nose. So you probably want to frame the video so that the head is in the top third.
Okay.
Of the frame. Whatever you do, vertical or horizontal.
And then you also have to think about how close you are, right? And how far away.
Yeah. So right now the 2 of us are in the video, and there's like some space to the sides, which is about this much. You usually want to have like some space, and you might want to think about the background also. This is a very neutral orange colored background. It could be something more interesting like a bookshelf or like a view out a window.
So it's also, by the way, better to be inside versus outside when you're doing this video? I mean,
well, sound-wise, it's going to be easier inside because you don't have wind noise. You're going to probably have less traffic noise when the windows are closed. Outside, you will have more issues with wind, definitely. The lighting, in this case, comes from windows on the left-hand side. The light comes from the left. There's no light from the right. We're using natural light.
And that's better.
Well...
Or what if you don't have natural lighting and you need some sort of artificial lighting? How would you light this room?
Well, there is something called 3-point lighting, which basically means you have like one main axis. In this case, it's definitely the left-hand side. So the left-hand sides of our faces, or right hand from where you're watching, is going to be lit more strongly than the right-hand side. What you get from the right-hand side is reflected from some glass over here and from the walls. You could use 3-point lighting. So this is the main source. There is like a side fill, some light from the sides to basically not create complete shadows on the other side of the face. You don't necessarily want that unless for dramatic purposes. And then you have backlight in many cases that like comes from the back and possibly lights some of your hair.
And would it be low to the ground, or would it be kind of up, or you wouldn't see the light?
You wouldn't see the light. You wouldn't see the light. So one of the professional ways of lighting is 3-point lighting, but the main thing to remember is you don't want to film into the light. what's it in English? It's Gegenlicht in German.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to film.
It's like if you're taking a picture with the sun facing you, that's not good,
yeah,
right?
if the sun would be like here because there were a
Right.
window, it wouldn't be a good idea because the camera would also probably try to correct. I mean, that's the thing with using like a DSLR, a digital single lens reflex camera like this one, is you have manual control over all kinds of things.
And you don't have that with the phone. Or you do?
Well, there are some apps on the phone that allow you some control. So basically you can decide how much light you want to let into the lens. You can decide the frame rate. We're going to talk about that later. But so like the first question is which way. You can decide that. We should probably, it's good to have one or the other. If everyone sends in a vertical video, it's nice because you can do interesting things. If people, of course, have like a horizontal video, then you have more background. So if you have like an interesting setting, or you like photograph yourself in the science laboratory that you won the award for, it's nice to see more, not just like chest up, you know? So there's stuff to be said for either or. One of the things that's important is stabilize the camera. This camera you're seeing right now is on a tripod. So, this is a travel tripod, so quite sturdy. There's all kinds of stuff that you can.
Isn't that called the Gorilla or something?
Yeah, this is the Gorilla Pod. You can just like
use my arm.
You can clamp it onto something. Well, your arm is not really steady, but I mean, you can clamp it on, or you can just use it as a tripod to put it on a table, for example. This is a little travel tripod. It's very, very light. You just spread the legs. You can just like pull them out. And then the interesting thing is, how do you mount your tablet or your phone on this? Because this is a 1/4 inch screw mount. So you need something to put around your phone, kind of a cage. That's what is often called in cinematography. You need a cage, and one possibility for that, let's show you this guy. This is
oh wow,
yeah,
that's a cage.
So this is a cage.
I need a cage.
So I also put this lanyard on, so you could use this to film stuff, and you stabilize with your arms, with your shoulders pressed to your side, and also with this neck strap. And the camera is fixed in here, and this thing also offers like this nice hand grip on the side, and most importantly, it has several mounting options. So it has these mounting options, one at the bottom.
Are they common? I've never seen that before.
One at the top. Yeah, there's all kinds of cages. I mean, you can
and
probably...
how much do they cost? Something like that.
You can probably get them for, I think, maybe 20, 30, 40 euros.
Okay.
This one's a bit more expensive because it's made of metal. And you can, for example, I have an iPhone in here. And on the other side, I have an anamorphic adapter. If you really want to be
never even heard of that.
Crazy.
I'm learning a lot. Here we go.
You can add something like an anamorphic adapter. This one is by Moondog Labs.
And what does it do?
Well, it basically squishes the light into a smaller area. So if you like to watch 70mm films, westerns and whatever, you know that they are like, it's a very wide screen. It's wider than regular widescreen. So many times you have like a black bar on the top and on the bottom. That's because you film a wider area and put it onto a shorter area. So you're compressing the sides.
Oh.
You compress 70mm onto 35mm. And of course then, if you look at this video, my sister filmed me when I just got this in New York, and she says, "You look so thin."
Oh, we like that.
Because I mean, of course, everything is just like compressed together. So unless you de-squeeze the images, everything is going to look skinny. But when you squeeze them back, you're basically going to get a lot more stuff on the sides. It doesn't make sense.
You mean the details around the room?
Well, it doesn't make sense for vertical, but it makes sense for the horizontal. Because if I had an anamorphic lens, which are incredibly expensive for digital single lens reflex cameras, and have all kinds of other problems associated, you would be seeing much more from the sides. You would be seeing way past this. So that's nice, but that doesn't matter. I'm basically just want to demonstrate this is like one of the cage systems, and you can screw something at the top, like a microphone or a light or something, and you can screw in stuff at, this is the bottom and this is the top. And basically then fix the camera on the tripod so it is stable. We had some videos by FAWCO Prize recipients that were like wobbly because
it was almost like they're doing what is like handheld filming.
They're doing handheld
right?
filming, and unless you're Lars von Trier, then you maybe should.
So we're not a famous director. It's probably not the best. It seems. I mean, it works if you're making a film, but if you're trying to do something kind of professional, that's just trying to introduce yourself, it's a little bit wobbly. Is not so good.
Yeah. It's not. Right? It's not really. What do they say in German? Zielführend. It's not really appropriate. So, of course, it could make sense if you want to demonstrate your environment. So, let's say you got the FAWCO Prize for, like I said before, interesting work in a crystal growing laboratory. You could film at least part of the clip while you're slowly turning around. That can be nice. It's like a cinematic effect. Just like generally the clips are filmed from one position and in one go, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can also cut something together afterwards. But you can also...
Well, I mean, that's why sometimes we ask for extra photos, right? That we can cut them in.
Yes.
And we've had people do that, and that actually works. That makes it interesting.
Yeah, definitely makes it interesting, and you can just like superimpose the pictures onto the video and make it come more alive.
But then you have to work with the sound, right? When you do that, you've got the video, and then you add some pictures in between. You have to work to adjust the sound, or not. When you're...
Well, I mean, the thing is that you can just keep talking. You can keep addressing your audience at FAWCO, for example, while just like superimposing pictures on top of that. So the sound doesn't necessarily have to be changed. And you can use... apps on your tablet, on your cell phone to do that, or you can use like iMovie if you're using a Mac, or you can use some free video editing software on Windows or Mac. If you really want to go crazy, you can use DaVinci Resolve.
That's what we're using trying to learn how to do. I'm trying to learn how to. He's my expert.
To edit and color grade stuff. There's all kinds of ways you can like expand what you're doing. But basically, number one decision is how to hold the camera, how to stabilize the camera, to have a lighting that looks good and lights your face well. And maybe one issue that we should talk about is the frame rate.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, well... European television usually has 25 frames, 25 pictures per second. American television has 30 frames per second. And film uses 24. Unless you're filming something like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, they sometimes film with 48, so twice the usual frame rate or even higher. And that's just something to be aware of, that you can set your camera or your phone to record a certain number of frames per second. The quality is going to be better if there are fewer frames per second.
So the European one is better than the American one?
Well, it has more detail, potentially more detail, because let's say your camera can, or your phone can handle a certain data rate, then if you have fewer pictures per second, then each picture can have more data. If you have 24 or if you have like 30, if you have 30 pictures per second, you have the same data rate, then each picture has less color depth or resolution.
So this rate has to be decided before you film. Like you couldn't take something that was, I don't know, 30 and squish it down to 24.
You can do that.
You can do that.
You can do that. It's easier to squish something down than to like pull it up, because you just don't have the extra images. I mean, you have to basically create new pictures from in between two other pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There used to be another problem, which was called interlacing and progressive, but we don't have to go into that because it's almost extinct.
Okay, well, that's an interesting problem, because sometimes we do have people who are recipients in America, and then we obviously have, mostly they've been in Europe, which is interesting. But what about Asia? Do they have a different rate or format? Or
I believe Asia has 30 frames per second.
Okay, and Africa? I mean, because we have different continents here, so how do you cover the different...
Well, the European influenced continents, they use 25 for television, and the US influenced countries, they use 30 frames per second. I think Japan is 30 frames per second.
Okay. So it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Because we did have, I think, one from the Philippines too this past year, but it didn't seem to be any kind of conflict.
Well, the thing is that if you put stuff into Resolve, it's going to automatically fix all of that. So it's just like something to be aware of. And also something to be aware of is that if you film with a cell phone or with a tablet, usually there's like automatic correction. So if something in the background catches the interest of the algorithm in the tablet, it's going to change the focus to be on whatever things should be focused on.
So how do you get it to be focused on what you want?
Well, you try, I mean, if you can somehow lock it down. So that's what I did with this camera, basically.
Okay.
You have one position, you have a manual focus lens, you focus to this one point, and then it's fixed. It doesn't change. And the only thing then that you can do is if you change the aperture, basically the size of the entry point for the light. The smaller the aperture is, the sharper the image will be around this focus point.
So phones are difficult, right? Where the camera, you can really control that easier.
Well, the thing is that the phones, they've become very proficient at seeing what's necessary. And also cameras, and many cameras with autofocus that basically look at the image and try to determine what's supposed to be in focus.
Okay.
So it's just like something to be aware of. And if you can like basically dial it in so it stays, you're going to have a consistency.
So, and also with these programs, I was just thinking about sound again. You can take out the sounds you don't like. Say there's a sound of a barking dog. Those things can be taken out when you're editing it. Is that correct?
Yeah,
if you can.
If you can.
If you can.
It's a matter of if you can. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can fix stuff. So like I listened to the sound that we have before, and there's like a little bit from the heating system that you can hear, but it's probably much less than the volume of our voices. I could also filter it out, but I mean, this is not really required. You don't have to become a video and audio professional to submit a nice video once you've been awarded one of the FAWCO prizes. You can make it a bit easier for us by looking at what we ask you to do. So please film horizontally or vertically, whatever. Frame rate things, this kind of stuff. FAWCO Foundation Awards. Yeah, I think I did say that a few times also.
Okay, we'll see.
We go through this and we'll edit everything.
I just was thinking about that. It's the FAWCO Foundation Education Awards recipients.
All of them?
Yeah, they're all education.
Okay.
So it's FAWCO Foundation Education Awards recipients. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we needed to cover.
So if you have any questions, then please let us know. And we hope you found this interesting so far and relatable.
And like I said, that's something we were talking about, whether it should be vertical or horizontal. I was just thinking about that. It might be more fun if we all do vertical, so we can play with them this year. So maybe we try to work on vertical this year, and if it's boring, I don't know, hopefully it won't be boring, it'll be interesting, then we try it this year, and if it turns out not, then maybe we'll go back to horizontal next year. I don't know.
Yep.
I just was thinking about that.
Let's all think about that.
Yes, let's all think about that.
Oh yeah, it's just like just as a little example for a DSLR, I personally like the Canons. You can get like one of these older Canons 550 or 600D. You can get them for probably, I think in the US they're called Rebel 2, Rebel 3. Okay. You can get them for 200, 300 euros. And the 600 series, you have a display that you can also switch out and turn around. And because they're changeable lenses, you can like add a lens to that. And
that is one of the only cameras that does that, right? That you can take older camera lenses and have them.
No, all DSLR cameras, doesn't matter what company. I mean, there's like fixed lens cameras, and then there's cameras without a fixed lens. And if you look inside, you can see the mirror in the back. So this is a digital single lens reflex camera.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about, didn't you have a...
Very nice for filming.
I was just thinking about when old cameras, when they have these lenses, you said they can be converted.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I have several old lenses.
But only for Canon.
No, I mean there's conversions for micro four thirds and for different mounts. Okay. So there's all kinds of conversions. But the thing with the Canons is there is a magic lantern firmware, which is very, very useful for filmmakers. Mm-hmm. You can see like overexposure and set all kinds of parameters and change the sound and all kinds of stuff. So very nice. So if you want to have even better quality images, then you might want to invest in a camera like that.
Or you might already have a camera. I know one of the award recipients was taking a camera class this year. Yeah. So I'm looking very closely at what her video looks like.
Yeah, let's see. Looking forward to seeing all of that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And like we said, if you have any questions, please get a hold of us or get a hold of me. And I have already sent you Andrew Levine's address. So if he has any, he can also directly answer any of those questions that need to happen. Yep. So thank you very much.
Also write to Shelly if you want to know about any upcoming concerts with electronic or electroacoustic music. There's some stuff scheduled for Düsseldorf in November, and there will be a series of concerts in Hamburg in December if everything goes well. My only tour so far
no one's getting into Australia.
No, not in or out.
No, but you also did work in China.
China too, yeah. I regularly lecture in China and did some recording work there too also.
I found that really great. Congratulations on all that.
Thank you, Shelly. Okay, so it was fun.
Well, thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Is that okay? Should we try again? I don't know. It's like...